You know, there are a bunch of form fields, and we're not going to try and cover all of them here, but I want to hit on a couple of key points regarding items that are going to constitute a little bit of a change for appraisers. UAD does direct us on how to display room count, bedroom count, and bathroom count. And the way that a lot of appraisers are accustomed to demonstrating, to displaying bathroom count is going to change. In this instance, 2.1 means that we have 2 full baths and 1 half bath. And so if in this case we had 2 full baths and 2 half baths, it would be 2.2. And now we were talking about the condition rating and updates. This highlight actually doesn't look quite as good on my screen as it did when I was doing this on my computer, but hopefully you can see this reasonably well. But we've indicated C3, no updates in the prior 15 years, and then offering a brief description in text form of what exactly we observed. So adequately maintained, newer carpets, original cabinets, and appliances, as just an example of how one might choose to respond to that particular requirement. When we get into the sales comparison grid, we're also going to find that there are a lot of places where we now have to focus on meeting the UAD requirements. Some of these don't constitute much of a change from what we're accustomed to doing. We do need to have standardized USPS addresses, including the city, state, and zip code for the subject and each of the comparables. Distance needs to be expressed in miles with direction. Prices need to be expressed as whole dollars, no cents. We are going to be driven to indicate an MLS number for properties that have been listed in a multiple listing service, as well as a days on market for that property, expressed as DOM with the number of days. When we get to sales and financing, we're going to be presented with a drop-down that's going to offer you a set of choices. And the instructions are to select the first item on that list that most appropriately describes the particular transaction. And so in the case of sale 1 here, we've used arm's length. Sale 2 was a short sale. 3, a relo. We've got financing as conventional. In this one, FHA or rural housing. And again, there are additional choices. We'll also be looking at having to provide the date of sale, indicating with a letter initially whether it's a closed contract date or a settled date, and then express the date in month and year only. And then when we know both, we'll put settled date 3 of 09 in this case, contract date 1 of 09, and if we don't know, we'll put in unknown. When we get to view, the first item we'll be presented with is a drop-down indicating whether that view is beneficial, neutral, or adverse, and then we will describe from the list of choices what type of view that property has. And if the view type that we want to describe, or the most appropriate description, is not part of that list, the appraiser will have the opportunity to enter in free-form text what view is enjoyed from that particular property. We're also being driven to express site size in square feet when it is below 1 acre and in acres when it is above 1 acre. Again, we've got, I was talking about location up here and saying view. Same thing applies though for view, beneficial, adverse, or neutral, and whether or not what the item is, and a free-form opportunity if the one that you're looking for isn't there. Another aspect that we're being offered some direction for is the design style. And as Peter mentioned in his portion, that one appraiser used conventional. That doesn't really tell anybody anything. And they don't want to see the use of terms like frame or composition roof or whatever the case may be. We've got to look for a description that offers a real indication of what that style is. We'll offer the quality rating using the 6 quality rating items that were shown before for both the subject and comparables. We will express age as 2 or 3 digits only, and condition using one of the 6 condition ratings that we discussed earlier. As we move down the grid, we've talked about bathrooms. This will apply for both subject and comparables. GLA is to be described in a whole number. We're going to be, I think, experiencing a little bit of change for a lot of appraisers with regard to basement and finished rooms below grade. We need to indicate the total square footage and then the amount of square footage that is finished with a description of how you look at the drop-down list and see what the choices are. In this case, it means walk-up. So we've got 545 square feet finished with a walk-up exit from the basement. For Comp 1, we've got walk-out. And then we've got to identify what the room count is and what type of rooms are in that basement. And if there is no basement, or if there are, then we simply enter zeros to indicate that there is nothing there. We have a UAD requirement on energy efficient items as well as garage. And those are pretty straightforward and shouldn't constitute much of a change from the way appraisers are doing things today. We do also have some change with regard to when to place zeros in the adjustment grid. And so that the zero indicates that the appraiser recognized that there was a feature difference from the subject to the comparable, but after consideration, no adjustment for that particular feature difference was warranted. Whereas if the features are identical, then we would leave that zero out and leave that adjustment field blank. And then, of course, this is another illustration of the same thing, but we've got the amenities section, or these three free-form opportunities in the sales adjustment grid. These can be used for any of the significant features, perhaps effective age, if an appraiser believes that that's an important point of comparison. Since we can't use that up in the field for actual age, you can bring that down below. Or other specific remodel items or individual quality differences can be used here. And again, this is just another example of the lack of needing to put a zero. So another item that's important for appraisers to recognize is that the manner in which you display your state license or certification number and the expiration date needs to be consistent with what is found in the appraisal subcommittee's database. So I would encourage all appraisers to log into the ASC database and make sure that what is there is exactly what you expect it to be. And then another item that is a new thing here is that when there is an AMC involved, on page 6 of the 1004 appraisal report form, where you're below the signature section, you will either indicate the name of that AMC, or if no AMC is involved, indicate simply no AMC in that field.